the iron law of evaluation. What is it? Where does it come from? Is it relevant today? Peter Rossi, one of the great pioneers in evaluation, created one of the first evaluation methodology training programs at Johns Hopkins University and was the co-author of the first major evaluation textbook with Howard Freeman, still in its now 8th edition with him as the senior author, the most widely used evaluation text in the world. Peter Rossi is the origin and source of the iron law of evaluation. In a 1987 article, he identified several laws of evaluation, the overarching one being the iron law. He said, a dramatic but slightly overdrawn view of 2 decades of evaluation, this is 1987, can be stated as a set of laws, each summarizing some strong tendency that can be discerned in that body of materials. Following a 19th century practice that has fallen into disuse in social science, these laws are named after substances of varying durability, roughly indexing each law's robustness. Iron being the most solid and robust of those minerals. The iron law of evaluation, quote, the expected value of any net assessment of any large-scale social program is 0. He said the iron law arises from the experience of few impact assessments of large-scale social programs, he's talking about experimental designs here, have found that the programs in question had any net effect. The law also means that based on the evaluation efforts of the last 20 years, the best a priori estimate of the net effect assessment of any program is 0. That is, the program will have no effect. He goes on to acknowledge in that classic article that there are exceptions to the iron rule. The iron, he says, in the iron law has shown itself to be somewhat spongy and therefore easily, although not frequently, broken. Some social programs have shown positive effects in the desired directions, and there are even some quite spectacular successes. But then he goes on to conclude, even in the case of successful social programs, the sizes of the net effects have not been spectacular. In the social program field, nothing has yet been invented which is as effective in its way as the smallpox vaccine was for the field of public health. That's a high standard, but it comes from a period of time when evaluation and social programs were born in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when there were major hopes for eliminating poverty and for having dramatic social effects upon the quality of life for all people around the world. Rossi concludes, in short, as is well known and widely deplored, we are not on the verge of wiping out the social scourges of our time. Ignorance, poverty, crime, dependency, or mental illness show great promise to be with us for some time to come. And on that, he has certainly been prescient. And so, what are the iron law implications for today? Well, first, use it as a baseline context for any evaluation that you're doing. Acknowledge that highly successful programs with major, enduring, scalable impact are rare. And if you're going to be working on a program that makes such claims, the bar is high. Second, it's a reason for moving to systems transformation. Rossi was talking about programs aimed at changing individuals and changing the behaviors, attitudes, and knowledge of individuals. That's the kind of programs that he was looking at. But what we've come to realize is that we need to change systems and not simply intervene in the lives of individuals and families. It's important then to avoid the cynicism because there are successes. Lee Shore recently highlighted that we know how to end poverty. And I've done a YouTube video debunking the myth that nothing works based upon her work. This is the link to that video. And so the iron law of evaluation reminds us to be modest, to be thoughtful, to not overly assert claims of major impact. They're difficult to find. They are rare. but they're not absent. And they provide us with a context that endures, that bringing about major social changes and transformations that affect primary major indices like the Sustainable Development Goals is going to be tough going.